Jay here for Stretford Paddock, that's Joe Smith, and this is a review of Manchester United's epic win over Chelsea in the rain. We didn't have a chance to chat to each other yesterday, so we thought we'd do it today. Joe, first of all, not seen you for a little while. Yeah. How are we?
I'm very well, thank you.
Yeah,
and I think because I've watched the last two games away from Manchester, away from YouTube, away from the hubbub and the hatred of social media, I feel like I might be coming to this with a slightly different perspective to what I've seen. Not like I see it differently to everyone else, but I think when you take a little bit of a step back, I don't know, maybe we can look at things a bit differently. We'll see. Maybe by the end of it,
that's a good point, that. Because you do all the watch-alongs. So every game you watch United is a watch-along game. So you're getting bombarded with the comments, which is good. I'm not saying we don't want him, but you're getting the sort of the opinion of everyone, the sort of how the mood is and everything, and that can sometimes just influence your thinking on a certain game or a performance or whatever. So it is always interesting when you watch it away from that, innit? Because I find that sometimes I'm a little bit different. Going into the game with your confidence, we didn't even do the preview together, so I've not even had a chance to ask you, going into the Chelsea game, how do you feel? Because you're someone who's well known for being a sort of gets behind the team, gets behind the manager, backs them. How are you feeling? I was obviously feeling
not great, and I thought we might well lose this game today because Chelsea are a good team. They're unbeaten in the league so far until obviously we beat them. They look pretty good. They've got a relatively settled manager. They're someone that's kind of done the path that we want to do, where they were finishing bottom half under Frank Lampard and really struggling, and now people sort of unanimously think they'll get a Champions League spot this season. Whether they do or not is we'll see. So you can lose that game, but I didn't think we would, and I have seen too many positives this season to just think we're going to lose every single week like we did last year. When we watched Man United play last season, every new game that came, I thought we're not going to win this. And we'd have the Tottenham game, even the Europa League final. Tottenham never win trophies. We beat Tottenham. I thought we might lose that. I thought we were probably going to lose today. I don't think that this season. I think just generally, obviously not everything's flipped because we've got, before the game, 4 points from 4, which I think is our worst Premier League start. But when you watch us play, you can't finish every game and go, we're not going to win next week. It felt like we're going to win more than we lose. And obviously that hasn't happened yet, although it has, losses-wise. But that still has to unfold. But it's not like watching last season, or even the season before under Ten Hag when we finished 8th. Every single week you went, how have we won that? How are we still in this? Or, God, another horrendous performance, another loss. When I watch United this season, I go, I can't believe we didn't win. We battered them. We battered Arsenal. We didn't batter Fulham second half, but first half we should have been out of sight against Fulham.
Yeah,
we should have battered Burnley, and we did win, but we should have battered City, where you go, they were the better team. We deservedly lost that game. And then you watch the Chelsea game, and you go, yeah, we deserve to win that. So of the league games this season, we've deserved to win all but one. And I know we haven't won all of those games, and we've lost some and we've drawn. But when I watch us, I think we're going to win, and we did. I was confident going into the game because I think we're going to start beating teams soon because we're playing well.
Yeah, I'm relieved. I was worried. I said this to McCall. We did the preview. Going into that game, yes, everything you said is true, and Chelsea are very good, but they'd been to Munich and played a strong team. I was looking at the team that they put out because someone said, they played the Resi. They didn't.
No, they didn't.
They played a very strong team. I don't mean they played against a strong team, which is true. I mean, they put out their strongest team as well. So you think the extra bit of rest, we haven't had to travel. We're at home. We should. But I was in that stage and I'm getting really worried.
Well, how are you feeling then? Because I know obviously we've said stuff on the channel. Obviously we've spoke privately and in group chats and stuff. And I know you're kind of worrying on sort of For Amorim, especially after that City game and the performance. How were you feeling going into the game yesterday?
I was massively worried. And I thought this could be a Spurs at home moment. Ten Hag Spurs at home was a moment where, and if you watch it, I went on Football Focus and backed him and said, get behind this manager, and we lost comfortably, and it was like, you felt like, I remember thinking after the game, he ain't going to recover from this. And I think I said it at the time, and people was like, And I thought, losing at home to Chelsea after having a difficult start this season, people might start just turning. And if you start losing the crowd, that's when you know. I'm not saying the match-going fans are any better or different than, or more important than the fans that don't go to the game or can't go to the game. I'm just saying that is usually a good barometer of when those fans at the games turn against the manager. Invariably, they're gone within a month. Yeah, they're done. Especially when you've got Sir Jim Ratcliffe sat in the stadium now listening to it. So I was worried. However, I've said this to you and you pointed it out. the key to United is just play against 10 men.
So the thing is, people talk
I've been saying this, not why people ignore me.
Just play against a team with 10 men.
Whenever we do that, we win. We're good. We usually win. Like Sociedad, Villa at home last season, Lyon eventually. Like
Chelsea.
That's the key. I don't know why I'm the only one that's thought of this. Amorim needs to fix up. That should be your philosophy.
That is
play
your
against
system.
10 men.
Yeah.
And as soon as Robert Sanchez did it in 3 minutes, after 3 minutes, I thought, right, we'll probably be all right here now. Yeah. And the thing was, I know it's only 3 minutes in, but we'd started positively.
Yeah, we did start very well.
And you thought, okay, we're up for this. And Land Nexon already made a good point. He said, what you want to see is you want to see the players fighting for the manager. That's when you really start to worry if the players look like down tools. And they haven't. They are fighting, they are battling, they are going for it. So I was relieved. Well, you needed a win. Me and you sort of, not argued, but we were debating about what's more important, performance or a win. And you ideally you want both. Yeah. But I think we're at a stage now where just get a win. Like, you're right about the performances have been better than some of the results, but he needed a result.
He did. Come
hell or high water, and he got one. I wanted to ask you a little bit about some of the individuals because there's a spotlight on one or two players. Bruno's one who's been scrutinised a lot this season. I think it's been just a bit of petrol's been poured on the fire because of that offer that came in from Saudi Arabia that obviously we didn't take or he didn't end up taking. What did you make of his performance yesterday? Because obviously he got a goal, but his performance in general.
I thought he was excellent.
Yeah.
And I think like you look at most games, he's excellent. Like he turns up, and this whole like. Two things have really hurt us this season. Obviously, the results. I put that to one side, which you can't, but you know what I mean. Let's just pretend. Two extra things. One is all the Fulham players after the game coming out talking about how we'd figured them out. We'd figured out the system.
You were right, though. They can fuck off. They only drew.
Yeah. Oh, what you drew when you were defending for the last 10 minutes in your own box, even though you'd worked us right out, had you? I know, obviously, Fulham shouldn't be expected to beat Man United week in, week out. But to say you'd sort of cracked the code, a draw in a game that you should have got battered in is hardly, you know what I mean? Fuck off. And secondly, the City game. And us looking sort of open and struggling in midfield. But United didn't get dominant in midfield yesterday. And obviously the flow of the game went back and forth and changed. And there were times where Chelsea were on top. They had one shot on target all game. One shot on target. If they'd have scored every shot, if we had no goalkeeper yesterday, Jay, we would still have won that game. You can't tell me that that's not a good performance. No. If in every game you play, that goalie could be me or you.
Yeah.
Because they had one shot on target and he went in. And we still won. If me and you can play in net for Man United, we've done well. We've had a good performance. Against one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah.
The world champions, whatever the hell that means.
Yeah.
I don't give any credence to that, to be fair. But this is one of the better teams who some people were putting them as a dark horse to challenge for the league title this season.
Yes, Steve said that a little while ago. Me and him were chatting.
Yeah, and I think Bruno Fernandes, because he's been part of that midfield, which has had a lot of the scrutiny of the system, and you need to change your system, and you threw it at the back, and you threw it at the back, and you threw it at the back. He's kind of, paired with the Saudi offer, paired with the fact that it's become him versus Mainu. Like, well, if Bruno's playing, Mainu can't play, therefore Bruno's got to go. I'm sick of him, he's too old, he's this, that, and the other. When we have good games, so far this season, who's looked really good for us? Not in every week, but Bruno Fernandes has had some very good games for us. Brian Mbeumo's had some very good games. I hope we're going to talk about Matthijs de Ligt in a minute.
We are,
because
don't you worry.
He's had some exceptional games. But once again, you look through the squad and you go, goalie, patchy to poor. Luke Shaw, awful against Man City. Yoro, been good, but didn't start the last game. On the right-hand side, who even is our right wing-back, I don't know. Dorgu's been decent. Casemiro, Ugarte have both had ups and downs. Sesko's not really got going. Cunha looked good, but he's been injured. We're going through the squad and no one's been amazing. No. And at least you've got Bruno and Mbeumo and de Ligt. And Bruno is a massive part of that. I saw some stats yesterday. In terms of it's genuinely, there's a massive list of him compared to his Premier League midfielders, sort of all Premier League midfielders. He's had the most through balls. He's had the most passes into the final third, the most passes in the final third. It's like you go through this list, the most expected assists, the most expected goals and assists, bang, 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 bang. Number one for all of them. And he's playing deeper and he's having to do a role that he's not really used to. And I still think he's top 5 for ball recoveries.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you actually want from him? What do you want this player to be? And Paul Pogba suffered from this as well, where because he's the only good player in the team, or because he's the one that costs a lot, or in Bruno's case, he's the captain, and he gets goals and assists. It's almost like he has to do it all. And if he doesn't, he isn't this god that we all decided he has to be. The standards he is held to compared to everyone else in the squad, dropping stinkers left, right and centre. And it's Bruno that gets more criticism than anyone. I mean, Rashford was, now he's out of the squad, he used to get a lot of criticism as well. I just think, let's not criticise the one thing that is good because it's not better. Let's get everyone else up to his level and then stop worrying about Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and it was good to see it. It was real captain's performance, Bruno. I was watching him and he was rallying his teammates and criticising and shouting when he needed to, but also getting them going. And yeah, he was everywhere, and it was good to see. And also, it was interesting that he got subs because it's quite rare.
Yeah, because he's probably knackered.
Yeah, and it, I'm always wary of taking Bruno Fernandes on, but I thought it kind of made sense. And Mainu came on, he didn't have a lot to do. It was just keep possession, really, and especially in those last few minutes, he did that. Matthijs de Ligt.
Oh, unreal. What a performance.
Just he's doing what we hoped he would do. And I don't often say that about Manchester United players because it very doesn't happen. But he's just the player that we all sort of knew he can be.
Yeah, he's unfortunate, de Ligt, because with attackers, goals and assists, it used to just be goals, then it became goals and assists. You can measure how good an attacker is in abstract from the team they're playing.
Yeah.
If you're a player like Bruno Fernandes last season, 19 goals, 19 assists, I don't care whether you finish 15th, whether you finish first, that is amazing. Yeah. You had a great season. Locked in a box, move on. With defenders, if you're losing games, Danny Murphy or, whoever it is on Sky, even Gary Neville, anyone commenting on that can brush aside a defender's performance in a loss. Yeah. Because, if you conceded, you must be shit. Yeah. And there's no we had 600 tackles last year. No one cares. You can't stat your way out of defending a defender. It doesn't really exist. But if you actually watch Man United without wanting to hate everything you see, Matthijs de Ligt has been excellent for us. And this season, he's gone on to another level. Now he's been sort of tasked with pushing up and being that aggressive physical defender, because those two wide defenders push into midfield and man for man go with their attackers. He's been fantastic. And what was he, 40 million, rising up to 46 or something?
It was something like that. I think it was for him and Mazraoui, wasn't it around 50 odd million for the pair?
For both of them.
Yeah.
And he's an exceptional defender. And if he was playing for Liverpool, put him next to, and obviously Koeman doesn't trust him next to Van Dijk, but put him next to Van Dijk, put him in City's team, put him in Arsenal's team, him next to Saliba, he would be lauded as one of the best centre-backs in the league. And this season he has been 100%. And I think he was fantastic again yesterday. And he's doing it in both boxes. Yeah. He's not just defending fantastically, which he is. Yeah. He's near the corner flag, he's Ahmad's chipping the ball over the top to him and he's squaring it across the box. He's been fantastic. What did you make in the ground as well? When you actually see that and you get the energy from him.
Yeah, everyone loved him. And I tell you what as well, Maguire deserves credit. Yeah. Because when it turned into a battle, he was up for it. And I think there was one where he tackled Pedro and Pedro lost his head. And it was good to see. I thought, de Ligt is the one that everyone kind of knows now. Look, this is the guy. Yeah. But Maguire as well, he's been getting a lot of grief, and even after the derby, I think he made a mistake there. People going, whatever, but I thought he did well. But yeah, massive fan of de Ligt. I just want to ask you quickly a couple more things before we wrap up.
Yeah.
Sesko, any worries? He only had 45 minutes. I'm not asking this question because I've got concerns, just to qualify it. But you mentioned there stats and assists and goals, and he adding it, and people are looking at him, and there's a narrative there, and some of it's an agenda, and let's have a dig at United. But it's you paid 70 million for this striker, and do you have any worries, or what do you make of his performance?
I mean, that flick on went a long way to winning us the game.
100%.
And obviously, you don't pay 70 million for a flick on because you can get some lad from a pub team to jump high and flick it.
It's a good flick on,
but what a flick on!
Yeah,
but there's a couple of times. So the ball came up and he took it down on his chest one time in the first half as well. That looked really good. Ahmad should have squared the ball to him. Yeah. And it wouldn't necessarily have been a tapping because there's a defender on his shoulder who would have closed that angle down. But there's a decent chance he could have either let the ball roll across his body and side foot it in, or hit it first time. And Ahmad, a mixture of maybe confidence, the weather, he would have had to hit it on a sort of 180 kind of back to himself pass. And he didn't. But I think the goals will come with him. And we're still finding our feet. Last season, when Rasmus Højlund was here, and our starting number 9, he was the least past 2 striker in the league. I know we've brought a couple of new attackers, but that isn't going to change overnight.
No.
Whoever's playing up front for you, you put Omri, you put, Gerd Muller, you put Ruud van Nistelrooy, you put Wayne Rooney, although he's different because he'd be getting the ball off you himself if you didn't pass to him. but you put any striker on number 9 for Man United and give them the least passes of any player in the world or in the Premier League, are they going to be the top goal scorer, Jay? I don't think they are they? So we've got a terrible sort of foundation that we're trying to build from. I think he's good. I like his athleticism. He's a modern striker, and I've said this before. Modern strikers aren't world-class footballers anymore. They are good footballers, they're athletes, and they're good at finding the net when you get them the ball in good positions. And we haven't really done that.
No.
So we need to get the ball to him in good positions and then see whether he can put it in. But when's he had a chance?
No, I'm not too concerned. Also, it's a bit of a weird game yesterday because obviously I know we had the extra man for a chunk of the time that Sesko was on the pitch. The conditions were woeful. Yeah. Like I say, the service wasn't great. And then it's a shame that Casemiro just did what he did. I mean, yes, there were two, you could argue the harsh yellows, but the stupid yellows for a player of his experience, and then that levels it up, and obviously Sesko was the one that had to make way. And also, just quickly, Chelsea should have been down to 9 men. I'm sorry, Cucurella's challenge for me was a red. I know he got booked for it.
Didn't he?
Jumps in. We've seen reds being given for them all season long, and I know I moan about refs, and I might seem bitter or whatever. We won, so I'm not being bitter. We still won, but that for me was a red. Anyway.
And also, just on the Casemiro thing, it was idiotic from Casemiro. If you're on a yellow, never tackle someone from behind.
No.
Just get that out of your head. However, if a Chelsea player on a yellow card had done that and he had to give that second yellow to put them down to 9 men rather than a second yellow to level it up, there is no way they get
Great point.
And that's not a Man United Chelsea thing. If that would be the same the other way around, that's any club. Refs are so quick to give the levelling up red, way quicker than they are to give, like they would never have put Chelsea down to 9 men for that same tackle. They just wouldn't. So Casemiro stupidly gave the ref a chance to do what he probably was quite keen to do, which is level the game up.
Was it Stamford Bridge years ago when Chicharito scored the winner? Was it that when they went down to 9 men, Chelsea?
Was it?
Am I misremembering it?
No, you're probably right.
I can't remember. I'm sure it. I might be wrong. Anyway, I digress. Just one final question for you.
Yeah.
Do you feel this can be a turning point? I know me and you've said this ever since we've met, but like literally.
We've never known each other when United were winning league.
No, we've always, every time we met and spoke.
And I've known you for ages.
Yeah, we've known for years. It's been like 6.5 years now, I think. And it's like, do you feel this can be a turning point?
I think it can be in terms of results.
Yep.
I think we've seen a bit of a turning point in terms of performances already.
Yeah.
And I know it was 3 minutes, but look at the way United came out yesterday. They got that red card because we rattled them.
Yeah. Sanchez
was rattled. He's not a great keeper anyway. He drops clangers all the time. But we'd gone after him and really put it on him. And that, football, everyone wants to look back at 90 minutes, but everything that happens in football is these few minute cycles. It's 4 minutes here, it's 10 minutes there. That 4 minute cycle of United just blitzing them culminated in the red card. Because, yes, things can build up over a game, but it always, you'll see, I don't know if you watched the Fulham Brentford game yesterday, but it was a relatively back and forth game, very low quality. All of a sudden, Fulham, 2 goals in 90 seconds. Yeah. And then from then on, it was Fulham's game. Things happen quickly. So that red card isn't just in abstract. That isn't just something that we were given by the gods. It was a response to the fact that United had come out really strongly and Chelsea were panicking. Yeah. And their goalkeeper panicked and got it wrong. And it led to us winning. It's like when United play well, it's because someone else fucked up. And when we played bad, it's because we fucked up.
Yeah.
And I think, and that is a particular thing with the manager. I saw people tweeting and commenting yesterday saying, oh, well, United only look good against 10 men. And I know we made that joke earlier. But if we'd have been down to 10 men, Amorim would have got blamed for that.
Yeah.
So here's what it is, right? So if you play badly, that's the manager's fault. If the opposition plays badly and you play well as a result, that's not his fault. If the opposition plays well, that's your manager's fault. And if you play well, that's the players doing. It's literally like the only things that Amorim gets attributed is us playing badly.
Yeah.
And I think, you have to say, we controlled the game, we put the game to bed. Yes, they had more of the ball after it was 2-0, but it was 2-0. No one gave Amorim credit last week for us having a handful of chances 3-0 down against City. No one went, United were brilliant last 20 minutes, because it didn't matter, because the game was dead. I think you can say the same about the game yesterday. United were the better team, we won it, and anything that happened after that is irrelevant. We were 2-0 up, they had 1 shot on target. Good performance.
Yeah, no, listen, I'm not going to sit here moaning after wins, and we gave him credit after the Arsenal game because the performance was good, but we said now we're at a point where we need to see wins, and we're getting them, or we've got one. We've just got to build on it, and going before the Anfield game, there's some winnable games.
Do you think it'll be a turning point? What is a turning point anyway? Because we're not saying 10 wins in a row, but maybe.
I think you look back and you go, that was the moment that mattered, that it clicked a little bit, or that sort of alleviated that pressure. On the preview, I was exaggerating, but I was like, this is going to be his Nottingham Forest in 1990 moment, where Mark Robins got the winner and that was it. Then Fergie's job was safe. But I feel like if we just need a run to go in the Anfield game, because if you go in the Anfield game on a bad run and then you lose that heavily, then you might be under real pressure. So I think this could be a moment for him. We'll find out when we play Brentford, but I feel like it could be because he needed it and he got it, and that's the most important thing. So in answer to your question, I'll go around the houses. Yeah, I think it could be. We'll see though. Probably this will get clips up when he sats in October. Joe, always a pleasure, never a chore. Go and check out Joe and the Sloppy Joe's podcast. Go and check out as well, if you're having a single, the Stretford Paddock merchandise. There's a link in the description there. Go and check that out as well. Got loads of merch there. Loads of people have been buying it as well and showing support to the channel, which we appreciate. That's been Joe Smith. I've been Jay Motti. This has been a review of Manchester United's epic win over Chelsea. Thanks for watching.